Blow on the pot, keep it at that temperature while the pot.
And it's going to brew, so it's at 197, and it's going to brew for 3 to 5 minutes. Bumbling for water in the pot and not on the yeah, it's going to brew 3 to 5 minutes, so about 4 minutes. It's just about perfect. Herbal teas are a little more understanding on the initial brew than tea teas, because you don't have the tea leaf to work with. It's not there.
What do you mean by understanding?
I mean that if you oversteep a tea with actual tea leaves, then you're steeping in bitterness.
Okay.
And all of that bitterness. There's no tea leaves, which means that there's less bitterness to the whole thing. Because there's no leaves. Because there's no leaves to give it the bitterness. So all there is in this is the pistachios, coconut, shavings, you know, and everything. So as you're steeping, and if you oversteep, like coconut gives you its flavor, and then it's basically done. Like there's nothing left. And in a lot of cases, you have to work really hard to get that coconut flavor. So coconut gives you its flavor, and then it's done. So it's not going to give you bitterness. So oversteeping this isn't going to hurt as much. Now, it'll hurt you in time.
You need a rinse?
Pretty clear for me, thank you.
Anybody else need a rinse?
I still have some. I'm probably not under.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it'll hurt you in time because, like, you only really have so much time to give to each customer before you have to move on. And really, I've scheduled that as 4 minutes per customer. Now, I'm not saying that 4 minutes happens and you look at the customer and say, your 4 minutes are up. I just walk away now. That's not how customer service works.
Bye, lady.
Bye, lady.
Bye, Felicia.
That's not how.
Get fired for that once because our boss name at all the Ventures was named Felicia, and they said bye Felicia, and she fired them on the spot.
Damn. Bitch. Anyways. But customer service doesn't work that way. You know, you have to interact with the customer as long as they're interacting with you. But when you're really busy, and most customers only want the time it takes to deal with them when you're really busy. They know you've got a line. They know you're backed up. They know you look like a chicken with your head cut off, or as I often say, a head with your chicken cut off. Like, they can see how crazy things are, and really, 80-90% of the people that you're going to mess with are all for making your day easier, because they're all for not making their day harder. So as long as you're producing decent quality and whatever, most of the time they're gonna do their thing and let you continue moving. And at 4 minutes a customer, that's as long as it takes coffee and tea to basically brew. So that's what I mean when I say that I've given you 4 minutes to deal with each customer. It's that when you're busy, you have to keep moving. Like, no matter really how the customer works, like always people, I always listen to their stories, but no matter really how the customer works, you have to keep on moving. Your hands have to move, your brain has to move, all the time, always. And most of the time, most customers will get the hint and continue moving. Other times, when they don't get the hint, you still just have to move on to the next drink and start making the next drink. Me, I like to, if I have a customer who's continuously talking my ear off because their company's starved, happens a lot, they continue slowly talking my ear off. As I move on to the next drink, I like to acknowledge the person whose drink I'm working on. I always acknowledge the person whose drink you're working on. don't drop this customer to acknowledge this one, but be like, well, I'm working on your drink now, and like these are the things I'm doing, especially when you're busy. Like, especially when you're busy, acknowledging the person and running back through the order that you're looking at as you're going. I mean, you can pause a conversation with somebody going, hold on just 1 second, and then acknowledge the person you're talking, the person whose drink you're working on, and go back over the order with them if you're not the one taking the order, and you're like, oh, well, this is what I've got, this is what I'm making you, right? Okay, good. And you move through that. Then you can also bring that customer into this customer's order, or you just turn back and start talking to the customer who you were talking to. But always acknowledge the person whose drink you're working on, because it's really their time at that moment. And besides that, when you're busy and you're like 13 drinks in and they just basically keep on coming, rechecking the order improves your accuracy on it 100%. Like, because you're looking at these tickets so fast, you know, that you might be missing something or reading something or adding something because you saw 3 tickets ago and your eyes are now fuzzy. Like, this happens. This is a thing. And time.
10:30.
With the, I thought you were setting a timer.
Oh,
Were you setting a timer?
no.
Okay. That's okay.
2 minutes have concluded.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
2 minutes.
Is I'm close to that.
Now you can always do a second room.
Right. Well, actually, this is an herbal, so Stephanie does not suggest a second brew. But I think you can still pull off one more brew.
Well,
It's
I
just
got
not going to be
2:15,
quite as good.
So,
So, you know, but yeah, so it really helps you to acknowledge and maybe even go back over an order if you can with a customer as you're moving on to their drink. Because it lets them know that they matter. Like, they're not just a drink to you. And when you're acknowledging somebody, I know this is something that in culturalization, often girls have a hard time learning or whatever. But when you acknowledge somebody, always look them as close to the eyes as you can. Because that lets them feel like you actively look at them, rather than casting them a sidelong glance or something. That allows them to actively be acknowledged. So.
Okay, right?
What are you two doing?
Ordering lunch. Go about your business.
I'm hungry.
But so for instance,
You're asking me
in
to
the once the whole front bar is set, so then you have the register, you have the coffee booth, and then you have this other side where the ice is going to be, correct? And the the frozen selection, the frozen section.
Not quite. What it's going to look like, okay? The best way to think about this is what it's going to look like, okay? So this front area that the counter's on, there are 2 doors. There's the door that actually leads to the parking lot. You haven't been there yet, but you're going to. But there's the parking lot you pull in. There's the door that kind of leads to the parking lot that I expect to be the main entrance. Okay. And then there's the door that faces the street that I expect to sometimes be used. But I expect the main entrance to be the easiest one to access from the parking lot. You know what I mean? Like, that's how people work. First door they come to, right?
Right.
So from that door, you then have the baked goods. Like the window that is on that same wall is actually going to be the baked goods display facing the parking lot. Because again, that's the direction we expect them to be coming, because that's the easiest way to do it. So then you have this counter that's actually going to be dry baked goods, and then we're going to have kind of a freezer for cooling baked goods, and then we're gonna have, so it's gonna go from the cooler of baked goods to actually the espresso machine. And the espresso machine can't move because I can rearrange the counters if I feel like I need to, except for the espresso machine, because it's installed into the plumbing, which has been there since before it was allowed to be there.
And it's heavy machinery too.
Yeah, so it's underground, underneath some of the concrete. This isn't gonna change, this is gonna move. It'll be actually directly in front of the sink, okay? Now, so, we're gonna back up a little bit here. And so we have that window display that is the baked goods. From there, there's gonna be a cooler. This is the wrap bar cooler for us. It'll have our milks, it'll have some cold brew options, it'll have some cold brew in there, it'll have some of the syrups and things, so it'll be our fridge at the counter. On top of that is going to be the teas. I'm going to have a couple of shelves that will have the teas, but the teapot and the tea kettle and things will be on top of this fridge. And then you're going to have a counter which will have the grinders and the hand washing sink for the barista. Okay, so now we're at the same point. Like the hand washing sink and the espresso machine are across from each other. Then you have the counter with the ice bin, the rinser, the drinking water dispenser, and then it goes to the POS. And then there's going to be kind of like this half counter wall thing that you're not going to be able to run past, but it tells you back towards the kitchen. The kitchen door is going to be here on the opposite end of the POS. You have to go through that to, there's going to be a window and a bar. That's the coffee station. That's where that's where all the brew methods are going to be. Is this window bar, and that's why I say on coffee day, you weren't hearing that. That's why I say on coffee day, you're really going to curse the coffee bar because it's going to feel like it's a whole nother room.
Yeah.
It's gotta be this
Because
really
you
close to
literally,
everything.
yeah, you literally have to spin a corner to get there. So that's what it's going to be.
She says spin, you'll see it.
And understand
So
it.
you have to
She'll
check
spin.
please come with me to the other side if they like.
Well, they'll see it. Like for them, it's almost a continuous line. For them, it's almost a continuous line. For them, on that front counter, so from the register, it's going to be this half wall, and it's actually going to be like an opening for them, and then the coffee bar.
Okay.
So for them, it's going to be an almost continuous line. For you, there's a corner. So yeah, and then back beyond that, it's going to be the hallway for the bathroom. Except it's only going to have one bathroom access, actually, because of city planning, because of building clearing.
So you can only have one bathroom.
No, we have two bathrooms, but
It's just the
only
door has to
down this
be-
hallway, only one of the doors is allowed to exist.
Oh.
So this will be one bathroom. Quite probably the
This is weird.
Coconut
I
tea?
could smell this like from over there.
quite probably to the employee bathroom. Like this will be the bathroom that we run to probably more often than the customers. Like it's not the employee bathroom, only employees, but probably the easiest bathroom for us to get to. So, will you pass it back to Mom?
Also, this is from the
Oh,
the green tea box.
yeah.
So that'll be,
I know, right?
It smells really good.
and then there's a wall that creates that, and there's sliding barn doors, and those open up to the actual dining room, so to speak. And the other bathroom door and the Rockababy door room will be along in the dining room.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Okay, so this is an herbal tea, so there's no tea leaves. So all the rules I taught you about tea don't exist. So when we're looking at the color, it's really just pretty. It's not going to tell you anything about bitterness, about overbrewing, any of that. It's really just pretty.
So how to get it to be brown and look like a tea?
Rooibos is a bush that grows in Africa, is where it originated. I think it grows in other places now, but I think it was originally discovered in Africa. And it's the stems, I believe, that they use more than the leaves. Like judging by the way it looks, I think they chop up the stems. But so it's essentially a tincture, like the other herbals.
Okay.
That's what I've been looking for all day. Yeah, herbal teas aren't teas, they're tinctures. But yeah, rooibos is actually what you're going to hear are. And what rooibos tells you is red herbal. All it tells you.
Okay.
It's spelled R-O-O-I-B-O-S. O-I-S or just O-S?
No, B-O-S. It's R-O-O-I-B-O-S.
Yeah. And yeah, it means red herbal.
Red bush, I think. Right.
Yeah, red bush, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's green.
But it makes red tea.
It makes red tea or red tinctures.
So this is
So
alchemy.
tea is alchemy. I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
But this is alchemy.
I'm acknowledging.
Yeah, tea is alchemy, and so there's no caffeine, and we weren't really worried about the timer as much because, like I said, overbrewing this it just takes more time. It doesn't really add bitterness. There's nothing to do it to.
Tasting notes on this one, Stephanie.
I believe coconut, primarily.
Oh, that's where we had that argument of whether coconutty was a
Was a word.
word.
I think it is.
We remember that. Yeah, we argued with her and said, no, we're not putting coconutty on here. I mean, coconut is a word.
Let's see, we've got
Nutty, that's a word.
This
tropical, nutty, and smooth.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
tropical, nutty, and smooth.
Tropical. That was our, tropical and nutty was our concession to not using
Coconut is
coconutty.
actually a brand.
It's a brand?
It's a brand.
So somebody
See,
had
so
to
the
make
good-
it up. Okay.
can
They had
it
to
be
make
used as an adjective though?
That's the question. That's the
Probably not without being
It's in the
copyright
Merriam-Webster
infringement.
dictionary.
Can it be used as an adjective?
Don't tell Alice this.
Tasting of coconut, having a coconut.
Seems to be.
So it's in there, we just don't like it.
Coconutty or coconuttiest? Yeah.
I don't like it.
We've already
Merriam-Webster acknowledges it.
We've already found it.
Yep, too late.
Thank God she didn't look it up.
And again, because we talked about a bunch of stuff while we were brewing this. Herbal teas are brewed for 3 to 5 minutes at 190 to 200 degrees water. Which, for kids, see, the problem here is that kid drinks, they don't want to make caffeinated. Like, parents don't want to buy kids caffeinated drinks because they're lazy. Okay.
There.
Anyways, keep up with them. Anyways, but
I don't want to do that ever. Like, there's nothing about being lazy. They're a lot of work.
but you can't serve a 200 degree drink to a kid. So the way you combat that is you take your time. Honestly, when you pour it, you let it sit and get air exposure. And you take a little bit of time for it so that it'll naturally cool down, and you might drop an ice cube in.
You can ask if they want you to.
Yeah, you can ask if they want you to.
And you can also, if you pour from a height, you cool down the water. But
Yeah.
then it doesn't steep at the right temperature, so.
And it takes some skill when pouring from the kettle to pour at the height.
And not splash.
Without splashing.
Or others.
I'll do a cell.
Yeah, 200 degree burn, a 200 degree liquid burn is a second degree burn. Say that again.
Good
Second
burn.
degree burn at a 200 degree liquid burn, and it stays. It's not a contact burn. It is a soak-in burn. It stays with you.
The only thing that you'll be dealing with regularly more dangerous than this boiling water is liquid molten sugar.
Oh,
Alright?
Carolyn.
Yeah. Yeah, it stays with you. It soaks into your clothes. It actually soaks a little bit into your skin. If you burn yourself, running your hands under cold water is the answer. And then examining your hands to make sure you don't need to go to the hospital.
You must deprive your skin of oxygen. Deprive the burn of oxygen and cool it off.
Yeah.
I hurt myself the other day at the house, and my husband told me, I don't understand why, but at work, put it in flour.
Huh.
My hand
It's suffocated it.
flour.
It suffocated it. You don't get to do that at the shop.
Yeah.
Stephanie will murder you.
Go run into Stephanie.
Stephanie will murder you. It suffocated it. It suffocated it.
I was
Yeah.
curious, like, if anyone else ever heard of it, because I had not.
I've heard of a lot of different things to help. Mustard,
Mostly because
ketchup,
Butter.
butter.
she's burned herself a lot and people
Um,
are
and let's talk about this butter. Okay, butter. If your hand's running at about 200 degrees and you put butter on your hand, you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna taste delicious.
Yeah. You may
It's gonna be
so.
a fresh hot pancake.
That's okay.
You're gonna cook it. You're gonna cook yourself. And that doesn't help your burn at all. Mustard. Mustard sometimes has chemicals and things that are slightly acidic,
Oh, like vinegar?
like vinegar.
Ouch.
Applying these things to a burn
hurts.
hurts and does not help you. It gives you a new style of burn.
It can disinfect the area,
But
but
if you
that's
want-
not your primary objective at that moment.
Yeah, and ketchup's the same thing. Ketchup often has things like vinegar. It can be a problem. Don't be spraying condiments on your hands to help cool the burn. That's not going to help you. It's just going to make a mess, and it could actually hurt you. Salt on a burn. Salt on a burn will hurt a lot, but actually, it can be good for the burn because, especially if it's a water boiling burn, because it will dry out the burn almost instantly.
But it'll
But it will
also hurt like
also
a
cleanse the wound, which will hurt a lot.
Salted ones.
Dry ice on a burn,
Oh.
or ice itself on a burn will actually give you a style of frostbite. Grabbing ice, like burning yourself and grabbing ice and throwing it on the burn will cool it too fast. And that will actually cause damage. So don't grab ice. Running your hand under cold water is the best solution for an immediate first aid. And then after first aid, you have to see if any is necessary in secondary aid.
Or then call
Yeah.
Or 911.
Or 911.
mom. Somebody else can call 911 for you at that point.
Yeah.
Keep your hand out of the water.
Yeah. So this is serious stuff. You should definitely be careful with the hot waters.
Okay. When you reach a pausing point, Alice, we should order lunch.
I'm at a pausing point to order lunch.